Hi, everybody. I'm Cheryl Grace, founding CEO of Powerful Penny LLC, an executive coaching, consulting, and lifestyle firm that empowers women to confidently advance to their next level of fabulosity at work, in love, and at home. Welcome to season 4 of Live from the Pink Couch, episode number 3. We are coaching 3 career professionals at different stages of their career journey to help them advance to the next level of their career at work. And we're glad you guys are here joining us again for this episode. And I hope you're taking notes of any advice you hear on the show that can help you with your career. So we've got a lot to cover. Let's just jump right in. Tonight, we have joining us an expert on interviewing. Ooh. Specifically on how to ace an interview with your boss when you're trying to get a raise. Most of us try to wing this and we go into the conversation with our managers feeling a little bit uncomfortable about even having to ask for a raise because, we are working our butts off and we know that we deserve a raise. So we don't even know why we have to ask for it. People should just notice our hard work and that should speak for itself. And we should be able to just walk in and the boss says, hey, guess what? You got a raise. But wonk, wonk. Sadly, that is not the case. It's just as important for you to prepare for an interview with your boss when you're ready to go to the next level as it is for any new employer that you would be interviewing with. Now, if you've been following us, you know that I always bring on additional support to help me coach our hashtag next level tribe members. And tonight is no different. Meet Alicia Roebuck. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. We're glad to have you. Alicia is the Assistant Vice President of Diversity Recruiting at the world's largest publicly traded property and casualty insurance company. Woo, you've got some big stilettos you are wearing, Alicia. She's led the recruitment teams at a couple of companies, a global consumer insights company, and also at one of the largest global social media organizations. So this means Alicia knows her stuff. She also happens to be the founder of Confident Career Women, Inc., a company that focuses on boosting women's confidence. So Alicia, we're really glad that you're joining us tonight. Now, each of our participants, Alicia, and I think you just heard me say that we call them our hashtag next level tribe members. So they have all crafted what we call a pink elephant goal. And a pink elephant goal is your biggest, most audacious goal that you have to lean into and have a little bit of faith and not be afraid to ask for help in order to bring that goal to life. And when one of our ladies achieves her goal, she gets officially booted out of the tribe. But Alicia, listen, it's all good. Being booted off the tribe, this is probably the only place where it's a good thing to get the boot because it means you've actually accomplished your goal. Okay. So tonight we're going to pair you with, drum roll please, our rising star, Vicki. Vicki, say hi,
Vicki. Hey.
Hi, Vicki.
Hi there.
Hi.
So Vicki's been at her company, Alicia, for 10 years. She's been in her current HR role for a year, and she has more than 20 years of work experience, and she's itching for a promotion. Vicki's pink elephant goal is to be an industry thought leader and the director of HR at her current company, earning $150,000 a year as of May 23rd, 2024. That's hard to say. Alicia, meet Vicki. Vicki, meet Alicia. I'm going to give you ladies 20 minutes to work together so that Alicia can help you get closer to your pink elephant, Vicki. And we're going to be on mute taking notes. And I hope that anybody out there in the audience is taking notes too. Please let us know if you have any questions that you want us to answer. Well, we've got Alicia here live on the pink couch. All right, have at it, ladies.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for the introduction. Vicki, thrilled to meet you and to work with you. First off, congratulations on all of your accomplishments. I am just in awe of you. How are you feeling today, first and foremost?
Thank you for that. I feel good. I feel good, excited to learn some stuff from you and take some tips away and start working towards that pink elephant goal. So thank you for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
So when I think about articulating your skills and experience, I use a term that, is one of my nieces and nephews would love it, but I say it's lit. I want to look lit. Lit stands for leadership, impact, and time frame. And I'm going to give you some examples, but I always say when you're thinking about showing up in that interview, showing up in that resume, showing up on LinkedIn, you want to be lit, right? So the first one is leadership. Leadership is so key. And the best thing about this is that you do not have to have the formal title of leader to showcase your leadership skills. There are so many individuals who just because of their background, their experience, their comfortability, their confidence, people just naturally follow them, right? And so just being able to showcase that leadership ability is going to be really key for you, especially in an HR style role. Next is impact. Right. And my biggest thing about impact, you heard my background as consumer insight. So I love helping to tell stories using data. I think data illuminates the story and it makes it real. So quantifying your impact. Are you helping 5 people or 500 people? Of those 500 people, how many people have had X outcome or Y outcome, right? That's all really helpful context for individuals to understand the scope of your work. I also always say sometimes we don't have those super numerical areas of impact. So I always go down to, are you saving the company time? A lot of people will say, hey, I upgraded the system, 2 years ago and it's much more efficient. Tell me, how efficient is it? How many hours in whatever period of time are you saving the company? You can then take your salary divided by 40 hours or 80 hours across 2 weeks if you're paid biweekly. That'll give you your hourly rate. Multiply that number by the number of hours that you are saving the company. And that's impact. That's a bottom line impact to that business, just to make sure that you understand and the company understands just how impactful your efficiencies, your innovation can really be. The last thing, and then I'll pause because I want to hear your feedback. The last letter is the T, and it's time frame. Now, time frame can be a little tricky because everyone kind of thinks like, well, how is that relevant, right? Like I have the dates on my resume. Why is time frame relevant? And I always say, have you done something in a period of time that is either shorter in some cases, or do you hold tenure in certain cases? So you'll see on lots of job descriptions, you need 10 plus years or however many years of experience. That can be a deal breaker in some cases. So the tenure that you have, but in other cases, did you solve a problem in record time? Did you win, more awards in a record time than any other person who's won that award? And that all comes down to, if you are in a competitive environment, which we all know we are in a very competitive environment, both if you are an internal or an external associate, right? So the idea is that there may be other people who are going into that interview with the same accolades, with the same titles that you have. What differentiates you? I'll give the example. I had a client, she won Employee of the Month 5 times within 1 year, right? It was a record number of times someone had won that award. Someone else in that organization who's maybe worked there for 20 years could probably also say they've won Employee of the Month 5 times. The difference, this person won the award in record time. So that's context. As a recruiter, I want to know, what did you do to win 5 times in 1 year, right? Like that's something that makes me curious. It draws me in. It tells me something about the other L, the other I. So time frame is a little bit of a nuanced one, but it's absolutely something that can differentiate you if for some reason you have very similar skill sets with other candidates. So I'll pause there on the LIT framework. Any questions, any ideas coming to mind for you?
The impact letter in LIT was important for me because in my role in human resources, it's often challenging for me to quantify the work that I do, trying to come up with measurables that make sense, that are relevant, that people will be drawn to. So your example was super helpful. And it's getting me in the mind for me to think about other things that I do that I don't think about from an impact perspective.
We undersell ourselves every single day. Every client I've ever met, myself included, it's like, oh, I just, and oh, I simply, and it's like, no, that small thing in your mind, because you're in the minutia of it every single day, that small thing is making an impact, right? That small thing is speeding up the process, it's making it more efficient, it's saving time, right? So I would encourage you, take a list, write a list of things you do every single day, things that you maybe are on autopilot doing. Write those things down and reflect on them. Are they more impactful than maybe you believe? There's a path, and your leadership likely has a perspective on what the next step, next level, next set of goals and objectives look like for you. You should be clear on that, right? So the first thing is setting the objectives, right? And getting really clear on what those are, but then also what does success look like, right? Because your version of success may look different from your manager's version of success, right? And it's really critical that you both are on the same exact page and checking in to make sure nothing's changed, right? The other option, if it's easier, or in addition to, I do both, is you give yourself a Vicky folder. And the Vicky folder has all of the I can't do this work without you, Vicky. Thank you so much for your contribution. Oh my goodness, you saved me. Put all those things right in the Vicky folder. And that way at the end of the year, or if you're having a bad day, you go in that folder and you go, okay, you know what? This is why I do this work. This is why I'm here. But give yourself that folder to return back to also for your performance reviews or for those moments where you need a pick-me-up to remind yourself of how spectacular you are.
I do keep an Atta Girl file, but I like the idea of being able to go back and reflect on it when you don't have the best of days. I like that idea as a reminder. I hadn't thought about that before. I do put some considerable thought in them, and I do try to reference emails that I've saved in my Atta Girl file to help kind of boost the content of my performance review.
So Alicia, Vicky's plan is to get this promotion within the next 18 months, or is it a year? It's in the next year, within the next year, right, Vicky?
Yes.
So when do you suggest that she has that initial conversation with her manager? I want to be the director of human resources as of May 23rd, 2024. When do you, two questions, when do you suggest that she has that? And then what specifically do you think she needs to say during that conversation to level set expectations and to keep the deadline in mind?
Sure. So I think that typically we would do that around the performance review. There's usually a question about career aspirations. So that would be the perfect place to do it, given that we may be off calendar for that conversation. I would put a specific career conversation invite on my manager's calendar. I'd make it for at least 45 minutes long. I would make sure I had a clear sense of if there's ever been someone hired into that director role. I would do a Google search for a job description for a director level HR role. I take my resume, I take the bullets from the resume, and underneath each qualification for that director role, take a time to really bullet how you fulfill those qualifications, or if you don't currently fulfill them, what's your path to fulfilling them, right? That way you can showcase that you're doing the majority of things and you have a path to connecting those other things. I'd love for you to have that first initial conversation and showcase that with your manager, understanding that they may already have an inkling that you're wanting this role, but also knowing they may need a little time to digest the information. And if they do, which they likely will, put the next meeting on the calendar for another month out just to give them some time, and ask them for your next, one-on-one to just share any missteps or areas of opportunity that you need to think about before that next meeting, right? I would really put the time on the calendar ahead of time so that you're not waiting for them to circle back to you, because again, this is your career and I'm sure everyone's really busy, but I'm sure it's important to both of you.
Yeah, and I love that advice, Alicia. And one of the things that I would also ask what your thoughts are is timing is everything. And even though it's generally around the performance evaluation time when you can start having these conversations, it's also important to make sure that you're having the conversation before the budgeting period starts,
Critical.
before the budgeting period starts, because the
Spot on.
last thing you want, this is a Cheryl's pink couch tip, the
Mhm.
last thing you want is for your manager to tell you there's no money in the budget
Yes.
for your promotion.
Mhm.
But if you have those conversations before the budgeting period starts, they can't tell you that,
Right.
because what they'll be doing is saying, well, we don't have the money in the budget. Well, great. I know that budgeting period is about to start come July, June, August, somewhere
Mhm.
around that time frame. How about we put it in the budget now so that this time next year, I'll be up for that promotion. What are your thoughts
Yep.
about that really quickly, Alicia?
That's critical. Knowing when budgets happen is just important in general, but understanding how budgets impact decision making for your manager, as well as what information they are going to need to make a case for that budget, and giving them everything that they need to make that discussion as easy as possible. It goes back to leadership impact and time frame, going underneath those qualifications, leadership impact time frame, and showcasing how you fulfill the qualifications for the role. And like I said, if there are qualifications you do not fulfill, what's the path to doing it? Are there transferable skills that are just a natural way of you hopefully growing in that role? Make those connections for your manager. Your goal is for them to not have to guess why or try to make it work. It should feel like, you know what? I have to have a conversation. I need to get the budget, et cetera, but I seem to have everything I need, right? And then follow up with that conversation. I would say every month. I wouldn't every meeting, every week say, hey, what's going on with my promotion? I would say on a monthly cadence and ask them, is a monthly cadence an appropriate time frame for us to check in on this conversation? I just want to make sure I'm giving you the space and the time to do what you need to do. But I also want to make sure that I'm getting the proper updates so that I feel comfortable. I
And
think
that's a
any
really critical conversation, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable saying that. Like saying, I'm being aggressive about this without saying I'm being aggressive about this. But putting it on your calendar once a month means that you are really, really interested in making this happen, and you're moving with intentionality. That's
Yeah.
so important. And
Yeah.
y'all out there in web series land, you don't want to do that. And bosses need you to do it, so that if you're not holding their feet to the fire, a year goes by, 2 years go by, you look up, you've been in the same job for 10 years and you haven't gotten that promotion because you haven't taken the ownership. Alicia, you've been fabulous.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity, Vicki. I think you are a star. You're fabulous. I really wish all the best for you. We will have additional time to talk more specific to your individual needs. I'll showcase, some of my worksheets and just some of my trackers, my personal trackers that you can take and, switch around as much as you want. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to your listeners, Cheryl, and I look forward to all that we will accomplish together.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Vicki, any last minute questions for Alicia?
No, just thank you for the time and the insight. I really have appreciated it and look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you
It's
so
my
much.
pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Alicia. So I know, Vicki, that you and Alicia are going to have some one-on-one time. She has set some time apart on her calendar. So we're going to make sure the two of you are connected and you'll be able to have that. There are a couple of things that she talked about that I really want to highlight. One of the things she talked about, Vicki, was not playing small. And there is a quote by Marianne Williamson that I love, 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 love. She has a poem that says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. I love that because it gives us an opportunity to embrace what I call our fabulosity. And that's what I heard Alicia saying by taking ownership of your wanting to make this move in another year and setting up those meetings with your boss and doing it unapologetically. I think you won't be playing small.
Whew.
It was a lot. She unpacked and shared a lot. And I hope when you rewatch this that you like got all the notes and but she unpacked a lot. But one of the things that I love that you shared and that she shared was she said to keep a Vicky folder, and you said that you have your Atta Girl file, and I call it my I've done good file, right? But for anybody who's watching this, if you're not tracking all of your successes, you're missing out because, as Alicia pointed out, you do forget. You forget. So keep those files, Atta Girl, the Vicky file, the I've done good file folder, whatever you call it, keep it so you can track all of your accomplishments. So thank you to Alicia and Vicky for allowing yourself to be coached. But before we let you go, really quickly, Vicky, you had a homework assignment last week that required you to research 3 viable coaching certification programs that you can earn while you're still working full time. So how'd you do with that?
It was good insight. I thought I was headed on a path for one particular type of certification, but exploring gave me some other options. So I did review 3, and I'm trying to figure out how to narrow the process down because each of them offer different things. So
What's your criteria that you're trying to, what are the criteria most important to you?
Business impact. I don't have an interest in having my own coaching business per se. I want to be able to bring a coaching culture to my organization. So looking at certification programs that speak to business, corporate coaching environments.
Okay. And one of the 3 programs or 2 of the 3 programs have that, and you're trying to narrow it down?
Yes, 2 of the 3 speak to that specifically. Yes.
Okay. All right. So next week, I'd love for you to come back and tell us which one you've decided on. That's your homework assignment, is to tell us which of these certification programs you think you've decided upon and when you think you will embark on it. So it's got to be sometime within the next 12 months. How long does the certification take? And count backwards so that you have this done and completed before you go in and ask your boss for that raise, because you want to make sure you've got that under your belt.
Mm.
So that's one homework assignment. The other homework assignment is because you're also trying to be a thought leader and you identified 3 areas that you wanted to work. I'd really love for you to write at least a 400-word blog on one of those topics. We want to just start thrusting you into being a thought leader. Just jump right in there, Vicky. Just jump right in there and write a 400-word blog. You don't have to send it anywhere other than to me, but I want you to start practicing writing and being a thought leader on a topic of interest to you.
Okay.
Got that? 2 homework assignments. Clear?
I am clear. Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Deshira, you have been sitting there so patiently. I thank you. I know you got coached last week, Deshira, and were there any thoughts that you had about what you went through last week or any aha moments that came after that before we move in to your homework assignment?
No, it was helpful information. Like I said, I need to finish it. I got to it, but then I didn't get to accomplish everything that I wanted to with my homework assignment.
So what was your homework assignment?
I was to update my LinkedIn page, my resume. I didn't finish.
Did you start updating your resume?
I did.
Okay. Did you have your follow-up conversation with Kelly, your coach?
I haven't. I did email her, but I didn't get a reply back from her. So
all right. So we will intervene and we will make sure that that gets set up because that will be helpful. She can help you through with the resume update. Okay, so anybody who's like just tuning in, Deshira is our Career 2.0 star. She's a mother of 2 with more than 20 years of work experience in the U.S. Air Force, and she's expected to retire in the next few months. So Deshira's specific pink elephant goal is to be a certified public accountant after completing 4, count them, 4 grueling exams and earning $80,000 to $100,000 a year within the next 18 months. So Deshira, we're dying to know, did you take your first test and how did it go?
I did.
Yay! Okay, we got to do a happy dance. Happy dance, happy dance, happy dance. Come on, happy dance, happy dance, happy dance. All right, tell us, how was it? What did you think?
It was not, I wasn't nervous, so that shocked me. I'm just wanting to know what I scored because they don't give you the score at the end. So I have to wait another 9 days to find that out. I think that's more nervous than when I sat down and took the 4-hour exam. But there, I don't want to say, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say what was on there. I'm sure I'm not, but I was just expecting something else, and it was other topics that I didn't focus on, but we'll see. So,
okay. How do they grade? So is it graded on a percentage number of questions that you answer correctly? Like what's the grading criteria?
it doesn't really specifically say what the percentage was, but each booklet was about 33 questions. The first 2 were multiple choice, which I love that. But then the last 2 are just like simulations where they had a bunch of emails attached, and it's just as if you're in the situation and you have to like kind of break it down and then plug the numbers over, do math. And then there was some literature, some guidance I had to look up as well in the last booklet. But I tried to answer as many questions as I could because I didn't want to miss any points, and I just need a 75. So hopefully, I'm praying that I made a 75.
Okay. All right. All right. So so listen, Deshira, this is like a boot camp.
Yeah.
We got to keep it moving. So I can't give you another homework assignment until you finish your first homework assignment. So that resume and LinkedIn profile is really very important. So here is a Cheryl's Pink Couch tip for everybody out there in web series land. If at first you don't get a response from someone you've reached out to, try again. Oftentimes people send me emails and I have the best intentions in the world, but I'm also really crazy busy. So I may see it and try to remind myself to reply back to you, and then it just slips off my radar. It is not being overly aggressive or assertive to reach back out every other day to a person to say, just following up again so that this is at the top of your inbox. We'd really like to get some time on your calendar, Kelly, to schedule time for us to chat. So don't be afraid to do that. And also, but I can't give you any more homework assignment until you finish that one. Okay. So you're gonna have homework assignment part due, which is to do what you didn't do last week that you weren't able to complete it. Okay. So Destiny, how was your cruise?
My cruise is great.
Good.
Yeah,
So I want to thank you because I know you're not feeling well, and you joined us tonight anyway. Last session, we were discussing the importance of you reaching out and connecting with individuals at the 5 companies that you've identified. You've identified 5 real estate agencies that you would like to work at. Great work. Happy dance on those. And you also identified 5 corporations that you'd like to work at because you're still trying to decide what you really want to do. So your homework assignment was to send an email introducing yourself to at least 5 individuals at each of these companies. So that's 10 individuals. Let's talk through how that looks for you. How will you do that? What help do you need with that?
Well, I would need help with more so the structure of the email on what should I introduce first? Should I introduce, hi, I'm Destiny, I'm a recent graduate from Lynn University, X, Y, and Z, a little introduction about myself. And then do I just say, just wanted to introduce myself because I'm looking into working with your company? Or do I just, kind of just propose myself into saying, hey, maybe, I'm actually working on getting my real estate license and I am interested in working with your company. Like just kind of the structure and the format of how I should write it.
Yeah, good question. Good question. I think with the real estate agencies, it's important for you to do what you did with us, which is you shared why they were the agencies that you selected,
Okay.
what stood out for you. So I think that that's a great way of starting your letter. I've been very impressed with your real estate brokerage or real estate company or real estate agency, whatever the language is, because of X, Y, and Z. I'm a recent graduate of ABC University with a degree in international business, and I am eagerly thinking of pursuing a career as a real estate agent. I would love to talk with you or someone at the company, to introduce myself and to get a better understanding of how entry-level real estate agents, break in to the industry. You can also Google introduction letters and see if there are templates that you can find, and you just take the same template, change the name of the agency and change what makes them special, what makes them stand out to you.
Okay.
We also talked with some of the other ladies about using ChatGPT, or I just said Jasper AI, which is a service that helps you write things.
Mhm.
So you have to make it up from scratch. So you can take it, write what you think sounds like a good draft, do a ChatGPT and have it take a stab at helping you finesse the letters.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
So that's for your agents, right? The other companies that you want to go after, go into LinkedIn and identify, do you know how to do a search on LinkedIn for individuals who work at a certain company?
I believe so. Yeah, I would have to look at the icons to identify, but I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you just go into that search in LinkedIn, you type in the name of the company and then click on people, and anybody who's working at that company who've identified it, they will pop up. And you
Okay.
can choose from the pop-up list folks that you want to send email messages out to, introducing yourself. This is what you're looking for. It's an informational interview. I'd love to take 5 to 10 minutes of your time to talk up, to learn more about the work that XYZ company does, your role there, and as I'm a new graduate and I'm looking for whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
Is that helpful?
Yeah.
I feel like I was rambling, so I hope it's helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
But so your homework assignment next week then is to come back with those 10 emails, either 5 emails to the brokerage folks and 5 LinkedIn messages to the corporate people. That's your homework.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Any questions? How are you feeling about all this?
I feel great. I actually am just eager now to start my courses now. So I'm just working on the to get that on and going, so I can get that started as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Any questions from anybody on anything that we've covered today?
No.
Anything? What are you guys thinking that you need help on?
Like Vicky said earlier, I would say speaking, impromptus for me, because again, sometimes my confidence is low if I'm not knowledgeable on the subject.
So speaking, like, tell me what you mean.
Um, for instance, I do have to speak to higher leadership. So sometimes, I don't know, I just get nervous, things like that.
Okay, so when you have to go in and present to C-suite leaders that are higher than you are, how do you walk in and own the room with confidence? That what I hear you saying?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So first of all, Vivian Picard is the former president of General Motors Foundation. And I included her in my Level Up with Grace newsletter that comes out on LinkedIn. So if you go to Level Up with Grace on LinkedIn and find that interview that I did with Vivian, Vivian is one of the most vivacious women I've ever met in my entire life, and she knows everybody. She knows everybody because she was intentional about developing relationships with people when she started at GM on the factory floor. She grew up in this small town in Mississippi, I think it was, and the only thing that she aspired to from that small town was to be a school teacher. You could be a school teacher, or really, like, you could be a school principal. And so that's what she aspired to until she moved to Detroit, got a job on the factory floor. And once she was working on the factory floor, she realized that the highest people on the factory floor could get to was, like, I think she said, a level 6 supervisor. So she started aspiring to be that. But then she realized something, that there were other people who actually did make it higher than that level 6 supervisor. And she started watching them and studying them. And then she started trying to find ways to meet them and introduce herself to them. And iron sharpens iron. That's a Cheryl's pink couch tip. Iron sharpens iron. If you want to know how to do better, to go higher, surround yourself with people who are doing better and going higher, and not be afraid to have those conversations with them. And one of the things she says in the article is that she realized that she was sitting in a room with a lot of white men. It's the automotive industry after all. And she noticed that while they may have Ivy League degrees, none of them could out-prepare her. She came prepped to every meeting. She knew what was going to be the topic of conversation. She researched it before she got there. She had a meeting before the meeting. She came to those meetings prepped and ready to go. She came to those meetings. She always got there early, which was for her on time. And she walked in with, she says, an air of being a 10. She walked in the room like she was a 10. She said, because that way, if anybody tried to cut you down or a little bit, they may cut you down to an 8. But if you come in at a 2 and they cut you down, you're like at a 0. And you never want to walk into a room like that. So whatever you need to do, boost yourself up so that you are walking into a room with confidence. And the best way to be confident is to be prepared. Who's going to be at that meeting? What is the topic of the agenda? What's happening in your industry right now, today? Like, if you have any trade publications you can read, if you know what's going on in the business world, if you know what's going on in the world for you of the Air Force, like, what are people buzzing about? When you're prepared, you feel comfortable having the conversations. And I heard Alicia say also, practice it on your phone. Even if you just record yourself on your phone talking about a topic, so that when you say it for the first time, you aren't saying it in front of a room full of strangers. Hearing it for the first time, hear it for yourself on your phone recording. That's where you're going to try to get some of that confidence from. And then also do informational interviews. Call people up who are where you want to be. Go online in LinkedIn. Y'all, LinkedIn can be your bestest friend. Go to LinkedIn and put in certified public accountants and see if any Black women pop up. They will. And then why don't you introduce yourself to one or two of them? Actually, that's going to be your homework assignment. I just made it up right now. Introduce yourself to two certified public accountants on LinkedIn, and ask if they would mind having a 15-minute conversation about how they got to where they got to. Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. Yes, we can do that. Everybody gets scared. Everybody gets scared, y'all. So we want to make sure that you have the confidence that you need. Some of those tips that I just shared will be really helpful, but the number one thing to do is to be prepared. Vicki, what were you going to say?
No, I was chuckling at the on the spot homework assignment. That was really in the moment and super cool. I liked how you did that.
Yeah. It's what I want you all to get what you need to propel you forward. We're not going to ease our way into this. We're already halfway through this, and we only got 3 sessions left. And so I want to make sure I get you as far toward your goal as I possibly can before, the series is over. So this week, I know you had your exam last week, Deshira. This week, I want y'all to put a little bit of burst under your what do you call those shoes that shoot you up? KC used to wear them. My son used to wear those shoes that, well, they're two. First of all, they're the water shoes that cause you to float up in the air, jet. Have y'all seen those on vacation? They jet stream you up in the air. And the other are those wheelies that cause you to go 2 times faster than walking. So we need to pick up the pace here for the last 3 weeks, and just kind of keep it moving. So make a couple of informational interviews, Deshira. I need to get you out of your discomfort. I need you to be comfortable rather with being uncomfortable. The only way we're going to grow is when we're being uncomfortable. Okay. Any questions before we go for today? Okay. All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to see you next Monday. I'll see you next Monday. Take care.
Check out the progression of all of our participants at Cheryl's channel of Fabulosity on YouTube, or learn more about the coaching programs and services we offer at IamCherylGrace.com. This has been a Powerful Penny LLC Pink Elephant production.